Okay, hello everyone. It is June 19th, 2025. I'm doing this. You may notice I'm like cranking out 2 or 3 videos in a row here. You'll probably be seeing this the following week sometime, but I wanted to address an increasingly popular myth that's happening online, which is that marriage is like a death sentence for men. People like Andrew Tate put this out a lot. There's some girl named Pearl who does this a lot, and they go on about how horrible marriage is for men, and just destroys men. You should know I've been married almost 13 years. My parents have been married for over 40 years. And I am a divorce lawyer by trade. That's what I do. So I've been doing that for about 18 years now. So you would think that I would be fairly anti-marriage, but I'm actually not. But opinions aside, let's look at some data here. It's actually a topic I want to explore in a lot more depth in some future videos. But for now, I want to kind of give a basic series. Is marriage a death sentence for men? Well, let's start with that term death. That would imply you die younger or something like that. I think it's used more figuratively than literally, but let's take a literal look at it first. Well, according to the National Institute of Health, a married man on average lives about 2.4 years longer than an unmarried man. So the basic point, it's a death sentence, does not appear to be true because married men live longer. Um, but what about some other things? What about money? Who makes more money, married men or single men? Certainly, if you believe this kind of some people call it the manosphere or the black pill, or there's all these weird terms for it. The Pearl and the Andrew Tate stuff. Certainly, the worst thing that could happen for a man's finances is to be married. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, if you control for education, age, experience, and other variables, married men on average make 11% more money than single men. Now, think about that: 11% more money per year, year after year after year after year. That's going to pile up over time. So back to this death sentence idea. Married men live longer, married men make more money. But certainly, single men have more sex, right? I mean, we all know on television, movies, it's always single guys here, actually, really, it's the single women getting laid. So that's it's all focused on. But nonetheless, hey, once you're married, that's the end of your sex life, right? Is it? Let's see what the data says. According to the General Social Survey, which has been done for decades, and it's a huge trove of information, a group called Flowing Data put together a chart to look at the General Social Survey examines frequency of sex by things like marital status. So what does it say for frequency of sex for married versus single? Well, at the frequency of 2 to 3 times per month. In other words, what percentage of the population? Well, actually, let me back it up. Let me go to who has sex at least once per month. For single people, 9%. For married couples, 16%. Okay, let's move up to the next round of frequency. Who has sex at least 2 to 3 times per month? Single people, 14%. Married, 21%. So as you can see, at the once per month and 2 to 3 times per month, big advantages for the married folks. What about at the weekly category? Who has sex at least once a week? Sorry, my phone's always just dinging these days. Weekly. Single, 13%. Married, 21%. So at the once per month, 2 to 3 times per month, and once per week categories, big statistically significant advantages for married folks. Who never has sex at all? Single, 21%. Married, 9%. So the people having the least amount of sex, single. One more just category to go through at the 2 to 3 times per week. This would be people having quite a bit of sex. Singles 21%, married 20%. So they're virtually identical at that point. So the long and short of it for this video is married men live longer, make more money, have more sex. Now let me ask a question. Why is this marriage is so terrible and it's a death sentence for men? Why is this catching on? There is a lot of frustration in the world amongst men and women. Now at this point I'm getting very opinionated. A lot of the courtship rituals that we had, a lot of the structures we had for dating, social structures, things like that, we have obliterated. And now everything is Tinder and swiping, and basically everybody's miserable and everybody hates it. So there's a frustration that people who just want to lie can tap into and make money on and get clicks and likes and make a podcast. What I'm saying is very unpopular, which is that marriage works. It works very well for men. There's lots of data on women, by the way. It works fantastically for women. And by the way, there's a lot of other points of data, poverty rates and, what's your odds of home ownership and, being a millionaire, and all those you see significant advantages for married versus single. and all kinds of other things. For women, like if you look at the numbers for frequency of orgasm during sex, married women have the highest frequency, much higher than single women. Um, so and we'll get into that in other videos, but the point is there is a general frustration that some very dishonest people have been able to tap into. And if you're someone like Andrew Tate, you actually sell webcam girls, so you want to do everything you can to convince men that women hate them and they have no prospects, because that way they're more likely to just say, well, why don't I just pay for a porn account? But the data is clear. Marriage is very good for men. We live longer, we make more, we have more sex. I mean, that's a pretty solid argument right there. So we'll definitely come back to this. I'll do some more videos on this, but I wanted to put that one out there. I know some people will disagree with me in the comments section. I welcome that. I always welcome disagreement as to my videos, and I welcome polite and civilized debate with people. I think it's good for people to debate ideas. That is very healthy for society. So I encourage people to do that. So either way, I thought I'd put that out. I'll have more videos on this topic coming in the future, hopefully before too long, and hope everyone's having a great day. Bye-bye.